In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to do a basic column creation as well as how to modify the basic settings of a column, specifically the database name, the name within our system, the database property, as well as validation and how it is formatted in the ESP system. So first thing you want to do is go into the table manager, and we're going to navigate to the table where you want to add the column or modify its basic properties. If you want to follow along, you can go down to the sandbox. Once you are at the table, on these tabs across the top, we're going to go over to the Format tab, and then you're going to click this Add button right here. If you want to modify the basic properties off of any one of your columns, you can either click on this little gearbox right here, or if you select it from this list, you can click on the change. So it's going to be the same format for the form between the two. I'll go ahead and show you. So this is the format if you are changing a column, and then this is if you click on the add. You'll see it's the same. Anything with this little red underline means that it is a required field, so you have to fill in the information. So let's just go ahead and put in some basic information. Over here is the data type. This is the actual MySQL data type for this column. So if I go ahead and put in a varchar 50, you'll see that this is still showing as red, and if I put my cursor over it, it'll tell me why. It must be a valid SQL data type. Once I've closed that parentheses, you'll see that that has been fixed and that the red underlining has gone away. So we have some inline validation right there. This format type, this is how you're going to choose how the values for that column show in both the forms as well as in the tables. So a good example of that is this auto increment right here. If I click on this gearbox, I'll show you. This is set as a bool, and what that means is the format type will show as a checkbox instead of entering a 1 or a 0. So we have a bunch of different format types. We have some date ones that are going to show things as different dates. We have a number, a percent, a few different things that on how it's going to show throughout the system. We'll go ahead and just leave it as none. Validation, this is an extra layer of validation on top of what MySQL has. So a good example of this is, as you saw when I was typing in the data type, I have a validation right here of an SQL data type. And what that means is if it's not a valid SQL data type, it's going to essentially throw an error back at me. So we have a bunch of different options for these as well. We have one for bool. We have alphanum, both weak, where it's going to allow a few things out of it, HTML colors, a bunch of different neat validations on top of the basic MySQL data validations that you have. One other thing that you can do is you can set the column to be an auto increment. Now you can only have one auto increment column per table, so keep that in mind when you're checking this button to make sure that you don't have any others. The one other thing is if you do click on auto increment, this data type must be an integer, otherwise it's just going to ignore that. So that's all you need to know as far as basic column creation and modification. I'll go ahead and click submit. And just to show you how quick and easy it is to be able to do that, I'm going to go ahead and create another one. Do test 2. And I can go ahead and click submit. And that is all there is to it to be able to create a column. Basic column modification is just as fast and easy as that.